Here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
We out here once again.
Thank you. Big shouts to our studio audience. Folks, welcome to the Producer Lounge. This is our show, brought to you by Always 400. We are your humble hosts, here to just sit here and chit-chat about music production. We got a couple fun topics. Chat, feel free to hop in with questions. That's how we like it. We like answering real-time stuff.
Yes, sir.
It's good to get our hands on the other producers, help them out. Get our hands on their shoulders, more compression,
Or like that one scene from that one movie where they're doing pottery and the guy's behind the girl helping her out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're helping them out with the golf swing. It's the same thing. We're here to help you. Okay? And in turn help help ourselves, because we learn plenty on this show ourselves.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
So,
teaching gets you.
If you're new here, welcome. Quick shout out to a couple brand new followers. We have Aerotip Tunes. Appreciate that.
Shouts.
Voodoo. Big shout out. Thanks for the follow. Grey Cat Music. Good to see ya. And Tiddy Club. No, I'm just kidding. Tidvi Club. Tidvi Club. Big shouts to you. Thanks for swinging through and dropping that follow. We appreciate that.
Yeah. We definitely want to be followed by the Titty Club.
That's true.
Yeah.
We don't promote this show hardly at all, so word of mouth is how this grows.
That's right.
Right.
And if you want to be a word in that mouth, go to always400.com and join the Discord. Links are in the contact tab.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's true.
Be a word in that mouth.
And it's
Be a word in the mouth.
It's episode 71.
71.
Beautiful.
Look at us go.
Just
Cranking them.
just cruising right along.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's depressing. It's great. I love every moment of it. How was your guys' week?
He's good.
Yeah?
Nothing super eventful. Just working on that one track. I think I talked about it last week also.
Yeah.
It was a future-based one. Now it's completely different because
Sick.
it's very hard to make future bass unique and not sound like it's from 2015.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I future based up a little bit this week.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, I got a friend writing a tune with, and it's like very much like a song, so I'm making more of a beat and less of a banger. And yeah, I put some future bass wubs in that thing. Who knows if they will stay?
All right.
Sure.
Still in the early stages.
Which, lends itself to our tip of the week. But before that, how was your week?
It was good. Got some mixing done on one of these tracks.
You're cranking on shit this week.
Which couple things there I want to touch on later in the episode.
I'm looking
I
forward to that.
have this new kind of fucking fucked up weird. It's basically psytrance, but it's house. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's sick.
Psy house.
Yeah, it's weird, but it needs a vocal really bad, and I got a vocal that I just had in a sample pack, and it was kind of cool, but I didn't 100% love it. But I was like, I just need something to so I can build something around it, And then I deleted that this morning and found a vocal of a chick saying LOL. And I was like, that's funny. So I threw that in there instead. And I don't know if I 100% like that either, but I like that vibe better. I like the idea of it being really trolly.
Yeah.
And then just being sick.
And not really like the vocals are overbearing in that
right.
way.
No, it's
kind of
not
just there.
Yeah, they're just there to be an element.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then I started something this morning, which I didn't expect to be anything. I just started making a bass sound, and it turned into a whole fucking groove. Now I have a whole other track I'm working on, which is sick. I was
Isn't
like,
that the best feeling when that happens?
It does sound nice, too.
And
it's a fun one.
That one also needed vocals, but of course, the last couple of tracks I've tried to grab vocals from our stash of our list of vocal prompts that we keep throwing in, and nothing really worked. But this track, the first one I tried worked, and I was like, sick, thank God. Because the moment I can get a vocal and it's solidified early in the loop, I'm a much happier fucking person. Because that means I can basically, there's nothing stopping me from just laying the whole track out, basically, at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And the sooner the track's laid out, the sooner I can get it mixed and start finalizing, and then I can start the next one, which is good. Bueno.
The circle of life.
Yeah.
Circle of life.
Yeah, I started that tune like just right after the next day after the pod last week.
Sure.
And that was nice. It was a nice little moment of doing some collaboration,
Right.
which I haven't done a bunch of recently. So it was a nice, refreshing moment of creativity. It's kind of sick to be able to have someone to go, okay, do you like this?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then be like, gauge off them whether they enjoy it or not, and then make your changes and then keep going. It's one of the reasons why, like, being in a band was so easy.
Right.
Because we would just make a groove. And everybody gets to do their part real quick, and you can make a groove in like 2 minutes.
Right.
You just be in a groove.
It kind of builds bumpers, I guess, for lack of a better word, like really quick. The moment you're like, I think this is a cool vibe. What do you think? They're like, it's cool, but this, and then that puts up a wall over here. You're like, okay, cool. Then you go over here, and you're like, what about this? And somebody else puts a wall up there. You're like, okay, here's where we are now.
Right.
And so now you can easily take the track down.
Which,
down
it was great. For me, it was like, okay, what about this key?
Mm-hmm.
And then she would sing, and I'd be like, oh, okay. So we want it up a little bit. Okay, let's move it up a little bit. Try and find. So now you're just easily finding a key. Key is based on the voice sounding the best it possibly can, which is a sick way to do a vocal. Anything with a vocal, like actual lyrics and like a full-on singing tune, kind of base your instrumentation around the voice and do less of a try and make the voice fit the key, because everybody has different range, and not everybody has like multiple octaves like me, you know. It's a wow. But I got back in, made a little groove.
That's
sick. Day or two ago after that, and it was really nice. But so for the tip of the week, I was thinking we'd goes a little something like this.
Give it
if
to
I
me.
can remember it. What do you remember? I said it earlier, all nice.
Don't only use like the first idea. You said it way better earlier.
Yeah.
Don't settle.
Don't stop at the first good idea.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Yeah.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah. Maybe.
Take two.
The tip of the week this week is don't stop at your first good idea.
Boom.
That's right.
That's definitely where I'll put the timestamp. I'll put it right there instead of earlier. So
there you go.
We'll be good. Hey, you made it.
Wow.
The tip of the week.
Yeah.
Don't stop at the first good idea.
Dude, that's exactly been my last week and a half or 2 weeks or whatever working on this track. Like, started as a future bass thing and got some like feedback on it, and everyone was like, yeah, it's cool, but it sounds like it's from 2012.
Right.
And I'm like, can't do that. That was like the worst thing you could have ever told me.
Right.
So or best, yeah, depending on what you're going for. But I'm trying to go for like 2045 kind of vibe,
Right. Doesn't really work when you're lost in 2015.
Yeah. And dude,
come
I
back
literally
around by then.
made like 15 different drops for it, all in like the future bass like vein, and was just like, no, I just can't. I should just not make future bass ever again because it's just not worth it. It's fun to just dick around with, but yeah.
Yeah, it always sounds the same to me every time I try and make it. I'm like,
Dude,
lame. It sounds like Griffin.
Right.
No offense to Griffin, I'm sure you're a good kid, but your super saws are.
Yeah,
over it.
for me, if I'm rocking a future bass ish vibe, it's not a super saw. It's more like a maybe a couple waveforms triangle, semi saw wave or sine wave with a bunch of unison, and then another layer of that of a different kind of waveform at a very different octave or whatever. Fifth, seventh, blah, 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 attached to it and layered on top of each other. And then once you get your basic like whoop, 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 whoop wobble thing on it, which future bass, if you wanted to make the regular ones, you do super saws, unison as fuck, and then all wide. And then you do volume automation to make them do the wobble thing. That's all it is. So instead of doing that, do like a filter on them and then do a little bit of volume. Maybe make them slightly different in some way. And then add I got to add like a lot of random effects to really just take it away from sounding like a super sod
right
wobble thing.
Kind of dirty it up a little bit.
It's still
too.
hard.
Exactly.
It still sounds like future bass in a way.
Yeah.
You know, like people will hear that and kind of deal with it that way. But yeah, I mean, even on this tune, it probably won't stick around that much. I'll probably keep the flavor in there for a couple little moments and then find another noise.
There you go. Yeah.
Kind of bounces off of it nicely and use that a little more. And then just a little of that future flavor, but with a lot of more dirty, fucking grimy sounds mixed in there, because that's what I like, baby.
That's what we like. Yeah, it's the perfect spot to like start the song at least, just get an idea going.
Sure.
If you're working with a vocalist, you know, it's probably gonna have chords in there, so it's like, yeah, we'll just start it here, see what happens, see where it takes us. Yeah, it sounded good from what I heard. It's a cool vibe.
Yeah, fun little vibe. And it is fun trying to make something for someone else.
Yeah.
And not just for my own personal project's sake. Just kind of try and design something that will work really well for them. So.
Yeah, and it kind of just works your brain in a different way. Because we can just do the stuff we like all day long, you know. But you work with like a vocalist and she gave you like some references and whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, let's try and go for this vibe. I've never done this before, or maybe you've done like something kind of similar, but
yeah, it's not honestly very far from my own kind of style for making like electronic songs.
Yeah,
like songs in the electronic world.
Yeah,
but very fun to try and fuck with it and try and figure it out. Violet Fields, I've been having the same issue. I thought it was
Welcome,
just
Violet
me.
Fields.
Thank you for bringing that up. I did.
When? I don't
a week or two ago.
I never noticed.
I did not.
I think I was there when you brought it up.
Yeah, I did. But I thought it was just me. I didn't realize it was everybody.
Well, it doesn't make sense. It says permission. Everybody has permission to view this channel. So I have no idea.
See, I have the notification.
Doesn't make any sense.
Also, in case you guys didn't realize, Violet Fields is the new name change from Aquat.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Aquat?
Aquat.
Oh, what's
yeah,
up?
see? Just does this for me.
Strange.
This is the start of the announcements channel. And then
Definitely not.
done reading, check out music feedback. And then, yeah, it doesn't, I don't know. It is weird. But yeah, so don't stop at your first good idea. Basically, I remember I was collabing with somebody a year or so ago, and we were working on a tune, and I made a little bass thing, and then the person I was collabing with was like, "Oh, that's sick. And I was like, "Cool, good. We got a cool one." And my natural thing to do is make like 3 more. You know, I want to like go and see if there's a better one available. And he just wanted to keep that original thing. It went nowhere really, but which is fine. That's how the process works sometimes. But yeah, it was definitely one of those moments where I was like, oh, this is where we're different right here.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna keep grinding on that bass line for a little while.
Yeah,
And then once
yeah.
I find something that I am okay with, there's probably a couple other options for me. And then I'm going to go make another thing and then make another thing. And then probably at that point, the bass isn't going to be vibing with me anymore.
Right.
And I'll go change the
Right.
bass again.
Right.
And then there's something weird in the drums that's not working anymore. So go and find a better way to do the drums and so on and so forth. Just keep on. And you stack shit that way too, which
Right.
is nice. You start you're building up this massive palette of things that are all within this one idea that you started from the beginning with. And you can kind of keep on pushing out from there.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucking nice.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's one of the best ways to be, I think, for like a music production, like headspace, is to know that your first idea is like, it's fine. It's not supposed to be great. Just keep pushing through the sludge. Just keep pushing at the ideas like, oh, this is neat. Let's expand on this little thing. Oh, and then that'll lead to a new little thing that's more interesting, and then that'll lead to another thing. And then eventually you're like, oh, here's the identity of the track. Like, it just takes forever a lot of times. A lot of times it doesn't. Like this morning, I only had to dick around for a minute before I got a vibe. And I was like, sick, cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like, that's so rare.
Yeah.
Like, the last time I had one of those was like a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was like,
Right.
like 30 songs ago. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a while.
Yeah.
So it's better just to be prepared to be like, I'm going to spend 10 hours on this before anything good happens.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
then once I'm done with those 10 hours, I have so much shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
All the content
yeah,
to use.
a bunch of little fucking different bits. Like, everything's been resampled a couple dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's got that love.
Yeah, you got a bunch of
That
weird
dirt.
stuff happening. Yeah. And since you're already there, like, you don't feel bad if you're like halfway through getting that idea fleshed out and be like, oh, I just need a new synth or a new hi-hat. Like, you don't care because it's about catering to that like evolved idea you have now and making sure that goes all the way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the 10 hours of work is for null. Although that happens too.
That definitely
Sometimes
happens.
you'll
Right?
spend 10 hours trying and nothing
Oh,
will
yeah.
happen.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not practice.
Probably
Mhm.
more often than not a
Yeah.
lot of times.
Doesn't mean it's not
Yeah.
practice, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good shit.
Yeah,
Right.
It's really good shit. Yeah. And sometimes you just made a bunch of decisions that aren't really that great.
that's true.
And you got a bunch of bad, shitty sounds and you can't really rescue them. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times that just means delete everything but the drums.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right,
you know?
done that.
Now you got a fat fucking stacked out drum
Right,
set.
now your drums are sick.
And fuck it, slow it down a little bit.
Right, do
Fucking
something weird.
Ooh.
Do something weird
Mhm.
and then go back and start over again. Start
Mhm.
making new sounds to go along with it.
Right.
A lot of the time in that situation, you probably have a few things that you can keep around,
Yep.
like impacts or risers,
Or if you have like a melodic mud pie that's just sitting there, like
Yeah.
you can easily grab some bleeps and bloops from that.
mm-hmm.
No
Just start over.
issues at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Try and do it different. Try to do something different.
Right. There's no shame in it. Just go.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice when
Keep going.
you do that move. That delete and start over
yeah.
with the drums is
It's like-
kind of nice. It's
like-
freeing.
Yeah, it's like ripping off a scab. You're like, okay, now let's just fucking get to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
This groove, though.
yeah, now
is
that I got this
nice.
groove,
Yeah.
now we can start cruising.
Mm-hmm. Pick a different noise.
Yeah, you can't stick with
Get in
that
there.
first idea all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of time it's a lie. I have plenty of early tracks of just like, look at this track I wrote. It's all the creative ideas I had in my head at the time. Like, yeah, well, they were shitty. You should have let them. Should have let them.
10,000 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have let them baked. You should have said no and moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
While still in the project.
Sure.
Instead of being like, I'm going to finish this one and then I'll make a new one. Like, why? Why not just
Yeah.
continue to evolve this one? Like, it's hard to say when you're really early on because, you don't have this show to help show you the way. Hey.
Hey, but you do.
But you do.
But you do now.
You do now.
Yeah, just being able to push through.
We didn't
you
have
know?
it.
No, I made so many
That's
stupid
why we're
tracks.
doing it.
And this is how I came to this conclusion, is because I made so many shitty tracks.
Right.
And then, at some point I started seeing that they were shitty before they even left the door. And I was like, why finish this? Why flatten this out and just make this another shitty song? Let me delete all this stuff and redo a bunch of stuff. And then next thing you know, you're 30 hours deep, but now the song has like way more fucking juice and a character and stuff. And you're like,
Yep.
oh, this is how it works.
Yep.
Okay.
That's how all those people get all those fun sounds that you think.
Right.
How do they come up with that sound?
They
It's
did
because
they just fucked around
Yeah.
for 3 hours and it just happened. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, sick, put that aside. We'll use that at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Exactly.
they did.
Yeah.
I watched this Ahi video where he was talking about some like Skrillex tracks and how they like evolved over time. Do you guys know those 2 tracks he put out like a year or 2 ago? His show tracks. It's like Fuji Opener and Mumbai Power.
Yeah.
Sick tracks, but Ahi was showing that like Skrillex like 4 years before he released it was like playing those songs out live, and he showed like how different they were and how similar. Like it was kind of in the vein, but like all the phrasing was different. Like so many of the sounds were different, the builds were different, all this stuff. So like this dude's literally sitting on a song for like 4 years potentially before release kind of thing, and
Yeah.
just tweaking and playing, test it out live again.
That's the glory of being able to play shit out
Yeah.
live.
I'm
'cause
so
you
jealous
can't-
of
of that.
so
I know,
bad.
me
Yeah.
too. I want it so bad. That's what people ask us all the time. Hey, release some music. Like, at least me and Dave, the project we're
Yeah.
working on is for the dance floor. It's specifically club music. So one, if we release it, like, what's the point? It's not for like releasing. Two, that's like the club is where you're gonna get all the juicy feedback from.
Oh yeah.
Like does
You're
it
gonna know
vibe
what
well
part
with
doesn't
other
work.
tracks? Yeah, how it flows. And yeah, you'll get instant feedback, and then you can be like, oh, sick, good thing I didn't release this. Now I can go back into the DAW and start tweaking shit and make it
Yeah.
a better song. So
Yeah.
when I do release it, it's sick. Like, that's fucking huge. And
All right.
before you play live, you don't have that luxury. And I can say that for a fact, because I don't. Because you
Yeah.
can show all your friends in the world, and they'll be like, oh, this is sick, dude.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you play it live, and the crowd reaction is just
Yeah.
okay.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that's what you need to know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
need to be
that's
able
the
to
people.
like get there and be like, okay. Take out your phone, make quick notes real quick, like, just do the work.
Yeah.
Just do the work.
Yeah. We got to hit you with the hard truth.
Yeah.
The hard truth
Hard truth.
every week.
Hard
You know?
truths.
You know what we like to say? Make 400 more.
Make 400 more, right?
Make 400
what I'm
more.
saying?
That's right. Just keep making them.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing about like if Skrillex does do that for every single song, like just chills on it for 4 years tweaking, I don't know how you don't go mad from just like working on this one song for that fucking long. And I'm sure he's not
Tipper's
doing it
that
like,
way.
I feel like
Tipper
you-
will have a
Tipper's that
tune.
I
way.
feel like
for
you
sure.
get used to it at some point. Like once you start doing it, you just put yourself in that place. And you're
Yeah.
like, I just have
Yeah.
a 2-year cycle on tracks. The nice thing about playing them live is if, say, you bring in this track and you tour it for 2 years while you're making tweaks to it. At the end of that 2 years, once people start getting tired of it and are like, this track is like fine, but it's not slapping as like well as one of your new tracks, that's when you release it, because now that track gets a whole second berth being in the limelight, and then people, when you play it live, they're like, oh, I
They're gonna
fucking
wanna
know the
hear it.
song, and
Yeah,
then there's
yeah.
the whole crowd that just is now hearing it and it's excited. Then there's the crowd who's been hearing it, but they're stoked still because it's now released and they can listen to it in their
It's also fresh.
car.
It's
Yeah.
probably different than they
yeah,
heard it the
right.
first time.
It's also fresh, right? And now
Yeah.
you get 4 years out of this track, where it could have, if you just released it and then played it, you would have only gotten 2. And it's a better track because of it,
Yeah.
which is sick. That shit's dope.
Yeah.
Right.
Quality, baby.
Yeah,
Quality.
That's the shit right there. But hard to do when you're making pop tracks. A little different, you know. If it's not dance floory, there's a there's other things to consider with that fact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little tougher if it's just for releasing specific, for getting the feedback that you need. Well, maybe not. But you're going to have to shop it around a little bit and get people to try and figure out a way to get unsuspecting victims to hear it without them needing to know that it's you.
But also, like, industry people, like other engineers.
I mean,
and like other like actual producers and shit to like listen to it in their studio and be like, oh, it's good, but like I feel like the energy dropped off at the the bridge.
There's way too much shit happening in this area.
Right.
To slim it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you go and watch some of these guys, Dave Pensado, Andrew Sheps, whatever, working on, like, there's some videos on YouTube of them, like, kind of producing a track, but they're in, like, the mixing, like, kind of more final stages of the deal. And they're just going through and going, like, we don't need anything right there. Just cut it to the vocal. And then they're going, to pull a bunch of stuff out. Like they're all that's all they're doing.
Yeah,
they're just
pulling a
they're being like
nothing
here, nothing there. Pull that out, pull the bass out, pull these drums out. They're just slimming it down to like the bare minimum a lot of the time. Which, you know, it's case dependent for sure. But
when it comes to pop and it's very vocal centric pop, that's pretty key. Like you want vocals, and that's about it.
Yep. A groove.
Yep.
That gets you going, but just really have to amp up the vocals. Make sure the vocals are good as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which can be hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Right. It can be a little tough, and especially if you're lacking like good vocal takes and all that kind of stuff, obviously. But say you have all
that's a strug.
Yeah. Say you have that under control, then it's seeking the correct attention for the feedback in that case.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just shopping it around to be like, sign this. It's more like also shopping it around just to like other studios to be like, hey, how's this mix? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Worst case scenario, they say no.
All right,
or sign up for a day to come in. Mm-hmm. Like, okay. Whatever.
Yeah, you could do that. Bring your tune into a studio and have somebody look at it and try to mix it for you.
Yeah.
You know, watch them do it.
That'd be a fun thing. Little experiment.
We've had friends that done that kind of thing and learned some things from it. Have someone master your tune. You'll find out a few things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if it's not
an actual mastering engineer is going to be like,
same.
You need to do these things first, and then I can make this sound better, or I can give you this, which is not as good as if you just fixed it on your side of things.
Right.
Exactly.
You want one of those guys that's willing to kind of go back and forth with you a couple times before the actual master gets done, which it can be tricky to find sometimes.
Right.
I know a couple guys though, so
we got some hookups on the inside.
I am Mountain Official.
Yeah, I had a couple tracks mastered before I had any idea what was happening at all. Like 2.5 years in.
That you sent out to someone?
No, well, I had a buddy who he went to school for it. More like band mastering. And he probably could have just told me like, no, the mix like isn't there. But he was just being nice and he just like did it anyways. They didn't like, nothing changed.
Yeah.
Like they were barely louder, like barely, but they were so quiet already. I'm like, oh geez, like listening back, I'm like, oh, sorry, Damon. Sorry, I made you do that.
Right. I'm sorry I made you look at that.
You could have easily
listen to it.
You could have easily just been like, you know what? You got a couple more things to figure out before you need a track mastered.
Could you imagine having someone just do that for you in those early stages? Just be like,
no,
you know,
get back in there.
You can keep your money. It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Make 400 more.
Yeah.
Make 400 more.
There's this guy on Twitch I like, and he does like mixing and mastering for people live.
Okay.
Yeah, and he like charges, so it's like it's a fair thing and whatever, and then he just does it live so people can learn. Not gonna say any names, but there's this girl that is always sending in her tracks to get like mixed and mastered by him, but her voice is just so not there. Like, yeah, you can tell she's like not quite comfortable with it yet. She doesn't have like the volume control. Her microphone is probably like, beginner stage
A
microphone.
USB microphone.
Yeah, probably. And every time I go and I'm like, oh, you poor guy. He's just like listening to this like terrible vocal take
over and over again.
over. Yeah.
Oh, trying to fix it.
Trying his best to just make it sound not like dog shit. Yeah.
Well,
like,
ma'am,
you
it
brave
seems the
soul.
source material just isn't quality.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. When in all reality, you don't really need a good mic. You just need a good voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
you need to sing into the mic well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like we found out last week with this gal
Yeah.
Everybody-
that I was
Jesus.
working with.
I don't want to,
Fucking easy.
bring people down.
Yeah.
I don't
yeah.
know what it is. Everybody thinks they can sing. And it's driving me nuts. I know that I can't sing.
Yeah.
I'll have fun like in the shower and in the car, sure, whatever. But I'm not a vocalist.
Yeah. It's never going on the track.
I could be if I just decided to get like a vocal trainer and train and practice.
I think you could work on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably could, just like most people could.
Yeah.
But there's too many people that are just like, no, I just have like a naturally good voice. And then they sing for you in your face. And you're like, no, you don't.
Yeah. I trust my emotions and my heart.
Yeah,
It's
like,
no.
well, your
please
heart.
All my friends have said that I sing
Yeah.
so good.
Listen, I'm not trying to bring anybody down, but I'm just saying, like, you got to be fucking honest
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, put your hands behind your ears next time you sing and point them towards you so you hear your voice really well. And believe you me, you'll hear some nasally fucking airy
Yeah.
shit.
Just record it, listen to it next to a good singer, and be fucking honest with
Yeah.
yourself.
If
Yeah.
you cringe a little bit, good. Fucking good.
Hey.
That's the truth happening. That's good for you.
Put auto-tune on heavy and see if you can make it not go
Right.
the whole time.
Right. That's almost a good little
That's a
exercise.
good little tell.
Yeah.
It'll work because people have always been like T-Pain sucks or whatever because he uses
No,
auto-tune.
he's so good.
Guess what? It's fucking hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
You guys probably know because you're producers and you've worked with auto-tune once or twice.
Right. And you've
Hopefully.
tried to record your own voice. Been like,
Yeah. Wow. It's really hard to get a good auto-tune.
Wow.
I'll tell you what. Also, a really great time.
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty
You
good
know?
fun.
Throw
Yeah.
the
Pretty
auto-tune
fun
on.
time.
Fucking get a beat going
Yeah.
and just sing around.
Yeah.
Just a good time.
Yeah.
General good time. Yeah. Fucking nail it.
Yeah. Guys, we just got to be honest, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Be
True.
honest with yourself.
And don't force other people to mix your shitty vocals for like
No,
a
but
while. Don't do that.
if you do, be fucking prepared to have honesty thrown in your face.
Or that, yeah.
Like, we got to stop being so fucking pansy. Like, you got to just got to take it on the chin and keep walking.
Right.
Yeah. Throw a tune up with your voice on the Discord and say you want voice critiques and I'll give them to you.
Mm.
True. He actually
give that
can
out.
sing, not me.
I'll give that to you right away. And, I'm sorry.
He's sorry in advance. Look at that. What a generous guy.
Yeah, if you're
Beautiful.
doing really good on a vocal for yourself, you're recording, you're gonna see just a nice even volume going through
Right,
that
none of this-
recording. It's not gonna be It's not gonna be fucking crazy dynamic, and it's not easy to pull that off. But you can do it. You just have to get used to carrying the same volume with every single word and phrase that you do. Understanding where you want to like hush sibilants
Right.
and try and there's a lot of things you have to pay attention to, and it takes a while to figure out, but you just do it a bunch.
Yeah. You'll
You
get there.
figure it out eventually.
Do it
I-
400 times.
I heard this fun one today where
get there.
if you're nasally, which I am a wee bit, you basically talk in a Sylvester Stallone voice and keep your chin tucked in and it reduces the like you talk with a Sylvester Stallone voice for like a minute or so, and then your next take, you push in your chin and you do your take, and I was surprised. I was like, whoa, Adrian.
My Sylvester Stallone voice.
And then next thing you know,
how to do
it's
that.
a little slightly less nasally. I did it today, and I was like, oh, it's like, that was
Yeah,
nice.
you want that
That worked a little bit.
coming from down here.
Right. You need a lot of chest presence, and you got to work on the diaphragm. At least for me, because my voice is just nasally.
It is really-
I have to focus.
People
on not
naturally
being-
sing very nasally too, because it's
Sure.
easier to kind of sing quiet and.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even do
and not even. Well, it's like the non-projection, like, yeah, because I am da, instead of just like, nah,
Right.
full on opening and like
Yeah.
letting it go.
Yeah, open your mouth wide.
Again,
too.
plenty
Another
of
tip.
vocalists I know who are like, I'm great at singing, and they're like, okay, sing me something, and they're like, was I when I was young?
Right.
Like, you're not singing. That's
Yeah.
just like you're letting air pass through your lips.
Yeah.
Like you're barely.
I remember singing some friends a tune one time, and they're like, "Wow, I love how you just really go for it." And I'm like, "I'm just singing. This is normal singing.
Yeah, this
that
is
I'm doing here.
This is normal.
I'm trying to convey the idea that I made, and
I have to project over the guitar.
unless you're fucking Billie Eilish,
right. Well,
You know?
it doesn't help that a lot of modern
right?
chick vocalists, everything's quiet and
Right.
close to the microphone.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
and then
always
just
like the
gain
most
boosted.
quiet.
Yeah.
It
Which
does sound sick though.
It does sound sick. Yeah, but.
You gotta be a good singer.
Yeah, you can't just do that. You have to be a good singer, and then you do that, and then it's good. It's not the other
Because
way
you
around.
have the control.
Exactly. There's like so many things that go into it. It's a whole instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyways, that was a random rant about vocals. I did not mean it to go that far, folks.
Hey,
but
we went for it.
I'm impassioned about it. I want people to not be bullshitting and to just, fucking know the truth.
Yeah.
Just you got to train. You got to practice.
And please do. We need more singers out there.
Yes, we fucking do.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's a
just work on that.
go search Splice for like a sample, and you'll be surprised how they all sound the same. Like, wow, we need more people singing
Right.
things.
Right.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. Well,
Well, on a different note,
yeah.
which we almost segued to earlier, but then we got into vocals.
Missed it.
I know. I'm sorry, Florence. Mixing things. We had brought this up when we were listening to a track of one of our buddies, and we noticed it is too low heavy, which we all struggle with.
Yep.
I've still struggled with it after 8.5 years.
That's right.
And one of his brighter end sounds,
Oh yeah.
reached out, and he mentioned, he's like, I know that's hot right now. I'm gonna fix it. And then me and Dave were both thinking, we're like, not really. In context with the mix, that symbol or whatever you thought was too hot is exactly where we want all the highs. All the other highs are just too low. So it makes that one seem hot. And then to back that up, the low end is too loud.
Yeah.
So
Couple different ways to fix that.
right, in that sense, you can lower down your bottom end, which will give room to the top end, allowing you to push all the other elements up to that one crash symbol.
Probably at that point,
You know?
you'll need to pull the crash symbol down because
Correct.
now it will be too
Correct.
loud.
So I think that's the point of this topic, is just the seesaw effect of your mix, and how thinking about it in that way first can save a lot of headspace and time when you're like, my mix, it seems really fucking dull, and I don't know why. Like, I'm pushing my highs, they're just clipping. They can't get any louder. If I reduce the bass it just gets thin as fuck immediately. You know, so there's all these like balancing acts you have to do when it can be as simple as just turning down your bottom end or your sub by like 2 decibels. And then that gives you 6 decibels to push the top end up. And then boom, you have an even mix. Like it's not always about like, oh, it's dull, so I got to push the sub down like 12 decibels. Like that, everything, like when you get to the end of a mix, everything's in really small increments. But it's all in this push and pull kind of aspect. Your mix could be too thin, which just means you just lower your highs down a little bit to give your sub a little bit more room. And then when you push the whole mix together, it'll flatten back out.
Yep. Too thin might just mean you need to do a little bit of boosting in the mid-range. Do a little bit of a slingshot.
Right.
Go run around, boost a little 400 on something that needs it here, a little 5 and 6 over here, a little 700.
Right.
And start poking up all that stuff and let that mid-range start coming through, because usually that's the issue with a thin mix is there's not enough in the middle.
And it's really hard to see when you're pushed up against limiters and compressors. Like say you're at the final stages of your mix, so everything's really pushed and shoved and it sounds like too thin. One, the mids, yes, would be my first place to check. But I would also go probably to my first limiter, whether it's on the master or a pre-master kind of bus type of system, and I would turn all the limiters off so that it's not being pushed, because that's going to automatically, if anything on your spectrum is getting clipped or pushed, that's going to drop it back down again, and a lot of time it'll drop the slope, because as you push closer and closer to the wall, your sub is going to carry more weight. So even though it's quiet and you don't think it's going to affect anything, by the time you're pushing -6, that fundamental is fighting with everything, even though you thought it was low.
Yep.
And you might not even like hear it just because it's getting clipped and it's just adding high end.
Yeah.
So,
and it's taking away from everything else.
Right.
You have
So
that too much boosting into the limiter there.
Right. And you basically just have to sit there and seesaw the mix and see like in which direction does it get thin, in which direction does it get dull, and then if you find a middle ground, if it's thin, then it's just mids. Yeah.
Honestly, a really good way to do it, just throw an EQ. If you have a Q3, there's a sick, it's not a shelf, but it basically does a shelf thing, but it from the point
it
boosts and lowers the either side of it. So you could just put one of those on, boost wherever you think maybe is, make it to where the low end comes down.
Right.
Put a really low Q on it so it just does a very slow slope, and sit there and tweak that and then push it into a limiter and see if it does better into that limiter.
Right. And you don't have to keep that EQ. That EQ can just,
you don't want to.
It's just telling you what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just a way for you to see into the mix and be like, oh, okay, so my sub is good, because when I add more sub, everything starts to fall apart.
Right.
Okay, what happens if I boost the highs? Like, oh, wow, it starts becoming livelier and brighter. Like, okay, let's go, tailor the highs.
Yeah.
Or if nothing happens when you do that, it doesn't get better in each direction, then look at your mids.
Yeah.
Which the mids
you can move that thing around,
That's
too.
That's true.
Which is nice. And put it up high and do that.
Right.
Put it up down low and do that. Try it from all the different angles.
It's just really easy to lose sight when you get to the end of the mix there, especially if you're not referencing heavy. Which in this case, I'm saying general referencing, just like you bring in a track that has a fun general. God damn, general referencing.
General referencing.
Good to see you again, sir. Just like I have a couple tracks. I have a new track now that I think is sick. That's just like I like the overall shape of the EQ of the whole track. Like I like where the sub sits, I like where the mid sits, and I like how crispy the highs are. So it's just kind of my reference for that. It has no other reference. Like none of my sounds sound like those sounds. It's solely about just the sonic grouping, basically.
Right.
And having that from the start helps a lot because you're going to make decisions towards that end. Where if you don't have that when you start, you're just kind of making decisions that sound cool together, and the next thing you know, you could have a potato that you think sounds good until you reference it next to something. You're like, oh, it's like all fucking 100 tone and like 120. It's just all mud. Weird. And then you can't unhear it. So now the whole song just sounds like a potato constantly.
Right.
And you try and EQ fucking out the mud range, and you try and do a bunch of shit, which at that point, good luck. You got to go back kind of to the start and remix it, basically. Yeah. But that's a good lesson to learn because you're like, okay, I need to, before I start making big moves, I need to have an idea of where I'm headed. Because like you can make a track sound good to itself in a vacuum, but the moment you put it up against other tracks, you're like, oh no, this one's way doper. This one's got like way cleaner highs.
Yeah, that's always the weirdest
It might have
thing.
less mids, but it's got cleaner highs, so you got to figure out where the middle ground is.
Yeah.
That's why having references in a bunch of different genres and different baskets and stuff helps kind of even out and keep you on the even keel.
Yeah. Dan Worrell made a little short video the other day where he was
Dan.
Yeah, the legend,
The
the
legend.
voice. He made a little video about referencing the other day where he was like, I know what people tend to think about as referencing as being go find a tune that sounds similar and try and use it to help your tune sound similar, figure out the EQ curve, whatever. So, but plenty fine way to do a reference. But what he was like, here's how I think about referencing. He was like, he made an analogy to he went and did a tasting somewhere. And he would do a tasting of whatever, I think it was drinks maybe, a little drink taste. And then they would have like a cracker or some kind of thing
to
that would be a palate cleanser.
Okay, yeah.
So that you could come back and have another drink. And they got progressively stronger as you go up the things. And you need that little palate cleanser. And if you started at the other one, it's going to be, anyway, I don't know if this is making sense to the analogy. But the idea is have a reference that you know is a really good sounding song. And if you're working and you go and play that song and it sounds weird, then your ears are shot. You're fucked.
Yeah.
Get out of there.
Right.
You want to stop
100%.
at that point. So you use the reference to figure out if your ears are working good.
That's cool.
That's a pretty good
That's
one,
sick.
right?
God damn it, Dan. He's the man.
Oh, Dan the man.
Dan, let's get you on the
Dan the
show,
voice.
man.
That'd be amazing.
That would be beautiful.
Isn't he in like UK?
I have no idea.
I don't know where he is.
Bristol.
I think
Maybe I'll find him on Instagram.
Yeah.
Be like, please tell me you live in Denver. You're ever bored? I'll cook you some food. You like steaks? Come on over.
Yeah. We'll bust out the good wine.
Yeah, come on. You can do some tastings over here
That's right.
and tell us how bad our mixes are.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be glorious. Yeah, all those are huge, and it's all very abstract. I'm sure I didn't explain it very well, but just keep that in mind. Like, keep in mind, one, your reference and what you're referencing for, and keep in mind that you need to, like, you're not just, like, your taste in a mix is pointless, so to speak, for now. Like, if I lived in a vacuum and I made a mix and then presented it next to somebody who also just had Skrillex, who just worked in a vacuum, present them with a mix, Skrillex is going to win because Skrillex has been doing it longer.
Yeah.
That's just the baseline. Like, I haven't heard enough good mixes and gotten close enough times to be able to do it in a vacuum.
Right.
So I still reference, and I still use this tilting kind of thought process when I'm mixing, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the bass line is. Like I need to like constantly figure it out every time I make a new track. Everything's going to be sitting in a slightly different place. So you have to really think about is it dull? Is it too bright? Is it thin? Like, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also what do you want it to sound like? But I feel like what you want it to sound like should be relatively last while you're beginning. Like you have all the control.
You want it to sound good.
Yeah, you have all the
That's
control
what you want it to
of
sound.
what the song is. So you don't get control as to what or how it sounds good. Like I feel like you need to just
follow.
focus. Yeah, you should focus on what other people do and how they make their shit sound so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
And just strive for that. Make your own weird shit, but make sure your mixes, you're striving for fucking the bee's fucking knees and do what you need to do to get there. You got to be honest. Same thing with fucking
It's going to take a
your
long
pipes.
time.
Yeah. You got to be honest. You got to be like, this mix is shit. I should try again.
Yeah, and you're going to think you're there a bunch of times because your ears aren't quite
Honed.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're not developed over that. It takes a while to get your ears to be able to hear all the little details. There's lots of little teeny frequencies all down that line. And you got to be able to kind of differentiate in between all the different ones. There are like exercises. I haven't done much of them, but there are
I've done a
exercises
couple.
to learn
The EQ
frequencies.
exercises.
Yeah.
And shit. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah.
I did them back in the day. I kind of forgot about them.
Guaranteed
Right.
works.
Oh, 100%.
I haven't done it, but guaranteed works.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a fun test just for like the next like 2 weeks. Just spend like 15 minutes a day. Just ear training kind of thing. I wonder what would happen after 2 weeks.
Probably
Just
not a lot, but
Not
if
a
you
lot
did it
for
a lot.
us.
2 years, probably be a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, all of this is null and void if you don't believe in the process, believe in the grind. And that's like one of our main things here is you have to believe in the fucking grind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The best way to get good is to show up every fucking day and continue doing it. You just gotta show up. You gotta try your best. There's gonna be days where nothing happens. That's fine. And there's gonna be a month or so when you take a break because you found a new girlfriend. I understand. I get it.
Happens to me like
That's
every
fine.
week.
Yeah, it happens to me every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you got to believe in the process. You know,
Yeah.
we all do. That's why we have this
Yeah.
podcast because we want to take this light that shines in us. You know, this burning desire for beats and help everybody else because we didn't have this show when we were starting out. So we're just trying to help guys.
I know, right?
Yeah. That's
trying to
why
help.
we need you to be here
just try to
and
help.
ask us the questions that you are pondering
Right.
so that we can give you the knowledge that you desire.
And let us know
Because
the
we have
Discord
it.
is lacking.
Literally anything. Get obscure and esoteric as you want, or as detailed, or as broad. And we're going to spread our knowledge.
Yeah.
Our knowledge seed.
Discord's on the website, always400.com.
Yep. If you're here, swing on by YouTube and give us a sub. We could use those.
That would be nice.
You can go back and watch
If
these
you're
over
watching
and
this
over.
on YouTube, fucking big ups. Thanks for swinging through.
Also,
appreciate
hit that sub
that.
button.
Yeah, you should probably still hit the sub button. These happen every Tuesday live on
That's right.
Twitch, 7:30 Mountain Standard Time.
Mm-hmm.
7:30 p.m. I should say. We're not here in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, we are. We're just working or
Just
asleep.
working.
Yeah. We're at the office
Asleep.
bright and early.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube,
hitting
go
that
check out our
heavy bag.
TikTok. We got some fun little clips.
That's right.
We present our pod in
That's
a
true.
nice little package.
Yep. Yep.
They're fun.
Shout out to you
shareable.
guys. Thanks for swinging by. Appreciate it. Violet Fields for the info on the Discord. I need to fix that.
Dude, Violet Fields forever.
Sorry about our Discord being lackluster. Discord is actually a cunt.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it might be like an update thing on
I don't know. I
his
can't,
end or my end.
I can't do it on my phone. I got to do it
Yeah.
on the PC. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
all right, folks. Well,
We'll
we
figure
love
it
you. Thanks for hanging out this week. Episode 71. We'll see you guys next week. It's gonna be beautiful. Keep
Never mind.
kicking ass. Stay in the DAW. Show up every day, folks. Okay.
That's right.
That's the wrong card. There's the right one.
There it is.
Hey.
Don't stop at your first good idea.
That's fucking all right, bitches.
Banger.